Hello and welcome into another episode of Popcorn for Breakfast, a What's Poppin' edition of the show where we're going to go through all the latest movie and TV news. And there is a lot of it this week, Kirk. We've got details on Christopher Nolan's new movies. We've got details on 3 new Star Wars projects. We've got some news from Denzel Washington, his plans on possibly winding down his career, and a bunch more. We got a new Mission Impossible trailer. There's tons to get to. I'm sure we'll bounce around a little bit. But let's get into it.
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kurt.
What's the feeling you get if you're a movie theater employee and you walk in and all that crap is on the floor?
Yeah, I don't know. I think about that a lot. I feel like that's a signal of the downfall of our civilization that we've started to, I really do believe this, that we've started to leave our trash in the movie theater seats. I don't know why, I don't know who started that or why it started.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember that not being a thing, that when you were done, you took your stuff with you and you threw it away. And I still do that.
Yes.
And I encourage people I'm with to do that as well.
All the time.
But it's very prevalent. And maybe I would be interested to know from others, like if you're watching from elsewhere, if this is happening across our great nation or maybe dare I say across the world. That's what's concerning to me.
Across our desolate nation.
Because I know you ever hear people talk about like there's these signals before the fall of any great civilization, these things started to happen. I feel like leaving the trash in the theater seats might be the start.
It might be. You know, there's a scene in Mad Men, one episode where the Drapers, they all go as a family to the park. They're having a lovely time. The kids are playing, and Don and January Jones, Betty, that's her character name. They're sitting on the picnic blanket, and this is a moment when he's not cheating on her. And they finish their talk. They're in a good spot. They get up. They say, "Kids, it's time to go." All of their picnic trash is on this blanket, right? They whip the picnic trash just into the open park they're in, neatly fold up their blanket, and walk away from the park. That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, well, that actually, maybe that restores some faith then. They were doing that in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like, I mean, I was raised in school where it was like littering is like, no. You know, like I think the littering propaganda police were out in full force when I was in school.
Yeah.
And so I just don't do it anymore. Or I never did. But
anymore. Oh, maybe I think we just have a real confession there.
Maybe if as a civilization, maybe we're not that far gone if they were already doing it.
Maybe it's just cycles, right? So like in the 50s, you left your trash everywhere. They're like, "Oh, we got to stop. Hold on, guys." They reeled it back in.
Yeah.
Things got better. They got a little lazy. And so we're just in a cycle of trash right now, it seems like.
It's got to stop though. The theater trash, it's not a baseball stadium.
No.
And I think it's only permissible in a baseball stadium because the stairs are concrete.
But why is it permissible in a baseball stadium? I try to pick up every ounce of trash.
And I think you should, but I think the general, I don't know. I'd love to see how they clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I just have always assumed, and this has been happening at baseball stadiums ever since I've ever been around, ever at a baseball stadium. There's always trash on the ground, always. Yeah. So it's not like before. It's not like the theaters where there was a period of cleanliness and now there's not. Yeah. It's always been that way. And I think it's just because people must assume with the concrete sort of stadium seating that somebody's just going through there with like a fire hose at the end of the night.
Leaf blower first, fire hose next.
I know, but then once they get it all down the stairs, it's such a litany of disgusting items. I mean, you've got like aluminum foil hot dog wrappers. You've got like popcorn tins. You've got
ketchup.
I mean, all sorts of those plastic nacho containers, beer cans. You've got all this stuff. So yeah, it's a real question. I have done that. I have definitely left my trash.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
This is a real eye opener.
I want you to reflect on this. I want you to look right into the camera and apologize.
Concrete, Kirk. I think that's the difference.
I think I'm such a I'm worried about if the custodial staff will like me. Like they'll come to my seat and they'll say, "Oh, he left his trash." They'll look me up and they'll like send me a mean letter. So I always clean up after myself. In fact, I'll have another confession. We went to see the movie tonight, right? A Real Pain. I did not tip on top of the automatic gratuity. I'll say it. There was automatic gratuity built in.
There was.
I left it at that. And I'm worried that he's going to look me up and blacklist me from the theater.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a toughie. I've gone on both sides of that. I feel like it's really a subjective thing.
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm not Steve Buscemi when it comes to tipping, you
Yeah.
know, like
Yep.
I generally am a good tipper. I tend to tip,
Yeah.
but that's sort of the trick question on the pop quiz, right? It's like, well, what if the gratuity is already put on there?
Correct.
Like if they throw an 18% on there,
I'm good. I normally always tip 20%, but if you
yeah,
built
sometimes
in 18,
sometimes I tip up to the 20 on top of the 18. If it's cheap though, I'm throwing $4. Like if it's $20,
yeah,
I'm throwing $4 on there.
here we go. Just lots of confessions
So
happening
now
tonight.
you should feel ashamed of yourself.
I didn't tip well. You leave trash in
We're both
baseball stadiums.
despicable, and I think we're both the kind of people who try to win invisible awards for things that don't exist. Like I always try to be like the best at TSA.
Oh,
You know what I'm
do
talking
you?
about? Like,
I do that as well. Yeah.
like, oh yeah, come on, I crushed that. Or like I don't know. There's certain things. It's stupid. It's dumb. It actually relates very much to the movie that we watched tonight, A Real Pain, which we'll be reviewing later this week. So watch out for that on the podcast. But we do have movie related things to talk about.
Do we? I don't know. This is fine.
One thing I do want to get into though, before we get into the real meat and potatoes, though, is this Marcus Movie Club.
Yeah.
So our local theater chain is Marcus Theaters. They bought our beloved Warenberg Theaters. It was the best. The Warenberg was peak 90s experience. It was beautiful. It was amazing. In my mind, it's unblemished. You know, it's just this beautiful, nostalgic little crystal that I reflect on sometimes.
There was nothing better. And
Marcus came in and bought them all up. And so now, like, genuinely, Kirk and I only have Marcus Theaters within 30 minutes of our house.
Yeah, so within a 20-mile radius. Yeah.
It's only Marcus. And so they were like the last holdout on these subscription programs, which is crazy that they went this long without getting one when AMC does it and every other big chain does it. And they revealed it this week, the Marcus Movie Club. And here's what you get. It's $9.99 a month. You get one movie credit per month. Only 2D standard movie tickets. So they have all these baloney formats that aren't even real formats that people want, like ultra screen DLX, super screen DLX. So like ours doesn't even have IMAX or like any sort of premium format that somebody would actually want. You can't get that with your free ticket. Okay. Nope. You get 20% discount on food and beverages. That's not bad. You get $5 for every $100 you spend.
Garbage.
Which is the same as I think their current plan, right?
Yes, it's exactly
the exact same. And every other movie ticket you buy over your one ticket that you get is $10, $9.99. So you're basically paying $9.99 for one movie ticket a month, which is like $3 or $4 less than just buying a movie ticket, and you're getting discounted on concessions. My immediate takeaway of this was that this is an all-time bad plan.
Yes.
and I love their website. Says save over $100 per year. And I'm like, hold on. If you paid for this for 12 months, it would cost you $120.
Yes.
So if you save $100, but you spent $120, you actually have not saved anything. You've actually just paid $120.
You lost.
Yeah, you lose. So I don't know if they mean like save over $100 on top of that. Maybe with the concessions and stuff. I don't know. And I know there's the whole, this is half the price of the AMC plan. Mm-hmm. But AMC, for double the cost, gives you, wait for it, 11 more movies a month. Not 2, not 3, not 1. 11 more movies a month.
Yeah.
And better perks.
Yeah. So let's do the math here, Marcus. If you are getting someone in your theater 12 times in a month, and they're buying concessions half of that time, what makes more money? What makes more money? I want to talk to sorry, I'm screaming. I probably just blew everyone's ears out. I want to talk to the accountants at Marcus Corporation, and I want to talk to the social media people, because both are failing at their jobs tremendously, and the rewards program
for sure.
Too.
Yeah. Well, I feel for the social media people, because they have really nothing to look forward to. Like, it's tough. That's a tough job for them. Like doing Marcus social media, like, brutal. Like, there's nothing exciting ever happening at Marcus Theaters ever.
Yeah, the most exciting thing they had was recording their attempt to get people into their sports bars, and Greg saying, we've got great things. Everyone loves Marcus Theaters because of our great bars. And he says it so strangely. I hate it so much.
It's bad. It's bad. I think it's a tough scene if you're the social media. So I actually feel for them. But top down, this is a failed concept. This absolutely sucks. I even as someone who is forced to go to Marcus Theaters on a regular basis, I can't talk myself into doing this. They got to come up with a better plan, and maybe they will.
Yeah, maybe. There was a point where we've talked about it on our podcast. We were big Marcus stands when we started. Because we're like, they came in, they bought the Warenberg theaters, they're upgrading, they're renovating.
Oh, they made it beautiful. They made all these new seats and new auditoriums. They're big food menu. It was excellent.
Yeah, and then they just stopped.
They've gotten super cheap.
Yes.
And their prices are crazy. So like particularly that thing where it's like if you do a deluxe format, you have to pay more. That kills us because you and I go to movies late at night. A lot of times they're only in super screen or ultra screen.
Yep.
Which I think is by design so that they can squeeze money out of people who are their most loyal customers, which is messed up. It's like pure and simple. It's money grubbing, and I don't like it.
Yeah, and they talk about how, hey, come for our matinees. Like not everyone can come during the middle of the day, friend. I mean, there's definitely a following of people that go at the time we do, anytime after 9 p.m.
There's a little cohort,
and there. I think those showings, they don't have to be matinee prices. They don't have to be your most $9.99 basic price, but maybe they're $11, like not $16.50.
They do need to be $10.
$16.50 we saw.
$16.50 is crazy.
Some movies with. That's crazy.
$16.50 is crazy. All right. Well, that's enough ragging on them, but that was hilarious. I think the social media response was equally hilarious. People were absolutely blasting them. It's a bad plan. And I think that as the consumer, it's our responsibility to call out when it's a bad plan. Sometimes it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works.
I hear Greg Marcus left the country.
Yeah, I mean, he's on witness protection right now. But let's talk about some of this like actual news that's happening right now, including I love that we start the show with the Marcus Theater Movie Club instead of the fact that there's 3 new Star Wars movies in development. So late last week, some fantastic reporting from Boris Kitt, my favorite reporter because he has an amazing name and he's got scoops galore, major scoops from Boris. He's doing the Lord's work out there, grabbing these scoops. And he reported that there are 3 new Star Wars films on the way. Many were speculating that it was episodes 10, 11, and 12 of the Skywalker saga. And they're on the way from Simon Kinberg, who is a writer and producer. He was involved in a lot of X-Men films. He was involved,
which ones?
Bad ones.
Oh, no.
Good ones and bad ones. So he was a producer on Logan.
Okay.
He was a writer on Dark Phoenix.
Ooh.
He was a writer on Apocalypse. He was a writer on Days of Future Past, which is good. So, it's really a mixed bag.
You know that meme of that blonde girl who's like reacting?
Yeah.
It's like, well.
I know. It's essentially that. Like, it's a real mixed bag. And so, so the new reporting today was essentially that, and I've got the article pulled up from Boris Kidd. He just released it today, the 12th, talking about Daisy Ridley and how the article on THR is called Star Wars Movies Race for Rey and the Future of the Franchise on the Big Screen. And so basically in that article, he goes into the fact that there has been a lot of, as we all know, unfortunately, tumult on the Lucasfilm side of the business where they can't keep writers, they can't keep projects, they lose writers and directors like every week of the year. They'll announce a project and then they'll be on like their 5th writer, including this Rey project that they're working on right now, this like solo Rey film that they're talking about that's going to be directed by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. It's on its like 3rd or 4th writer. They actually haven't found a writer for it now. It's like in writer limbo right now. And so basically in this article, he talks about how, Daisy Ridley's excited to come back, but they can't decide exactly how much to use her or where to use her, if she'll be involved in these 3 films or if she won't. Like they kind of view it. Here's the quote. She is the most valuable cinematic assets, in some ways, maybe the only one Star Wars has right now, is what one insider says. And so, but they can't decide how to use her, and they can't decide if they should continue the story or what, because it becomes such a amalgam of just nothingness.
Yeah, because they don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, of course.
Like they know that you put her in a feature film as Rey Skywalker, then people are coming. No matter.
Are they though?
The top.
No, No, but like seriously, are they though?
I think they are. I mean, I obviously there's a lot of problems with the final episode 9, right? But even her becoming Rey Skywalker, I feel like that's the only move that they had at the end of it all. I feel like that had to be the move to make her,
Well,
because
because of the path that they laid for themselves. I mean,
correct.
they made their bed and then they had to sleep in it. Like that's
She should have
yeah.
been Obi-Wan's kin,
She should have been, or she could have been no one. That would have been cool too.
also would have
Actually,
been cool.
I was fine with that.
Yeah,
I
but
think most
they,
people, I think a lot of people were fine with that.
and in a way she kind of is, but she's adopting her name as the Skywalker clan. So I do think she is the most valuable. I think that you put anyone else in a feature Star Wars film right now, no one's coming.
What do you think's more hated, the sequels or the prequels?
Sequels.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's why I ask.
Yeah.
Like, is she a draw? I like Daisy Ridley. I liked her as Rey. I thought it was fine. That trilogy of sequels was completely unraveled by episode 9. And I know a lot of people will say that it was episode 8's fault. I give Ryan Johnson a lot of credit for trying to blaze some new path for that. And I don't think it always worked. You know, I don't necessarily think like Leia getting blasted out of the bridge of the ship and then using the to bring herself back into the ship. I don't know if that worked. It did feel a little hokey,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like out of the realm of possibility in Star Wars lore. And it was something bold and new that nobody had done. The
Right.
whole like, there's a lot of stuff in that movie, and people just destroy that movie. I mean, they are relentless, the Star Wars fans. I feel like a lot of it's unjust on episode 8. Episode 9, to me, as time wears on, is the real culprit
Mm-hmm.
because I think JJ tried to undo everything that Ryan Johnson did. And I think that was probably at the behest of Lucasfilm and probably his own personal ambition as well. Like Lucasfilm was like, we need a safe movie. And he was like, oh, well, I wouldn't have done it that way anyway. So here's how I would have done it.
Right.
And then he basically tried to make 2 movies in one while ignoring number 8. And he tried to use Carrie Fisher when she had passed away, and it looked really bad. And there's just issues galore with that movie.
There are.
So, I mean, the sequels, as a sum, like as the sum of all the parts, the sequels suck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's painful to me because I'm someone who liked 7 a lot and liked 8 a lot, but I really didn't like 9.
Yeah, the question would be, even if she is the central character, what's the central conflict that could be carried for 3 more films?
That's what I don't know either.
Yeah.
It's like, are we really going to start back over with a whole new, you know, empirical threat?
Yeah, there has to be some sort of progression, and maybe it's kind of built in there somehow. I don't know what that looks like, but
See, I actually felt like they were kind of on the right wave with the Mandalorian thing.
Mhm.
Like, I felt like when that had started and they were announcing projects like Andor and they were announcing the Obi-Wan Kenobi project, I was like, okay, well, now this has legs. You know, there are still tons of pieces of this, you know, well of source material that are untapped into, and they could go in any number of directions. And The Mandalorian at the start was really great. Really great. I thought the first 2 seasons were excellent, and I was very excited for season 3. But they fell back into their old shenanigans with season 3, where they couldn't decide where they wanted to go. They had to keep making Mandalorian stuff, but they couldn't decide how far they wanted to take it. And so they started undoing some of the cool stuff they did in the first 2 seasons because they wanted to give him more runway.
Yeah.
And boom, it sucked. It just sucked.
Yeah, so they opened up all these threads to see like what would work, but it's like you can't open up all these threads when you don't have a live audience saying, yes, I like that. No, I don't like that. And then you only get your feedback 12 weeks later after everything's premiered.
It's been such a mixed bag. And I think, I know we talk a lot about toxic Star Wars fans. They certainly exist. And I think that some people would maybe even could label me a toxic Star Wars fan for this take, but
Nope.
I think it's a mess. I think it's a mess there. And I don't know many people who have unanimously loved everything that has happened in the Disney era of Star Wars.
No
It's
chance.
just too much of a mixed bag. And the highs are high. Rogue One, Andor season 1, Mandalorian season 1. Great. All that stuff. Love it. Love it. And the lows are low. You
Yeah.
know, there's The Acolyte, which I know I didn't watch the whole thing, so maybe I can't pass judgment, but on what I saw of it, I really didn't like. There's Mando season 3. There's Book of Boba Fett, which has major issues.
I'm an outlier. I like Book of Boba Fett.
I liked Book of Boba Fett until the end.
I don't remember the ending.
There you have it. That settles it. But I guess, I don't know. To me, and I know this is not a new take, everybody has had a target on Kathleen Kennedy from essentially day one.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting. I read Bob Iger's book, and he talked about the Kathleen Kennedy thing and how they were just about to buy Lucasfilm. And right before they did, George Lucas promoted Kathleen Kennedy. And Bob Iger was like, I'm sorry, what? He was kind of like, what's going on here? And George Lucas was essentially like power playing. He was like, this is who I want. This is who I want. And so I don't know if she's stuck around because of that, because George Lucas is living and Bob Iger feels like, I mean, him getting George Lucas to sell Lucasfilm to him,
incredible,
insane, right? Like he said he would never do it. He said he would never ever do it. And he talked like he goes into way detail in it in his book. So I just wonder if he feels he owes him a debt to keep Kathleen Kennedy around, because otherwise I feel like this thing needs to be unplugged and plugged back in. Maybe DC Studio style reboot.
Maybe that was the gentleman's handshake. Like Kathleen Kennedy stays, you get the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, maybe Lucas would unleash a massive smear campaign against him.
George Lucas is
but I don't think George Lucas loves all this stuff either.
No chance. No chance.
So I don't know. That's on Star Wars. Anything else on that? Do you hope it's 10, 11, 12 that they're developing, or something altogether different?
No, I would hope for just one more one-off to see what happens to Rey.
Yeah.
But I don't need 3. I'll take 1.
And I think there's another line in this article I've got to find, because I thought it was really good. It had to do with nostalgia. Mm-hmm. Oh, here it is. Another source familiar with the process is more business-minded, noting Star Wars is a nostalgia-based enterprise and they are running out of ways to create nostalgia. And I think that really hits home, because they're squeezing so much out of that original trilogy. And to another extent, the prequels too. All of the George Lucas created stuff, they're squeezing so much out of it. What's left?
Well, right. Well,
what's really what is left?
Disney owns Marvel. Disney owns Star Wars. What did we get an oversaturation of in the past 4 years? Both of those.
Yeah,
they made a huge mistake. They wanted to blitz the market and have all the content come to them, and they thought it was going to be a successful and positive move, and it wasn't.
They were wrong.
They were completely wrong.
I think they know that now.
Why didn't they test it, right, with one of the many studios they own?
I don't know. I think they felt like, maybe they felt like the streaming thing was going to become a bloodbath quickly, which it is. Mm-hmm. It is a bloodbath. There's not a lot of money to be had out there from it. I think all the corporations are realizing that. And so I think Disney was basically like, we got to scoop up as much share as possible as quickly as possible, so that we can then raise prices and have a bunch of money flown in, which is exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
But in the process, and this is kind of like Michael Eisner Disney era thinking, they've diluted the source material. It's like when you release Little Mermaid 2 and Aladdin 2 and Lion King 2, and they're all trash, then people, it hurts. It hurts things. It gives you a one-time boost of revenue, but no residual effect. It doesn't give you any sort of upward trajectory. And that's what these Disney Plus shows have been. It's been a one-time boost of people being like, oh, I want to watch The Mandalorian. Everybody's talking about The Mandalorian. But then they overplayed their hand. They overplayed their hand on the Marvel TV shows. And now people are starting to become disinterested. And now they're starting to deteriorate their base. So
here we are. Feels like we're falling through the floor in a trapdoor.
I know. It's a problem. But 3 new Star Wars movies.
Nope. I only want 1. I'm going to cancel the other 2.
Well, they'll probably get canceled.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I have no reason to believe this standalone Rey movie is going to happen. I have no reason to believe this Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to happen.
What I don't want an 8-episode series of Rey. I don't want that.
How about 6? Can I interest you in 6 30-minute episodes? Thank you. That's how we do it here at Disney Plus. Thank you for being here. All right, moving right along. I want to talk about wanted to ask you about this next Christopher Nolan movie. Now, we don't know anything about the plot of this movie.
Okay.
It's something that people are speculating wildly about. I've heard.
Pause. Do you have any Christopher Nolan Funko Pops? I don't know.
Just Batman.
Just
right?
Batman.
I've got some Christian Bale Batmans.
Oh, that's fantastic. I
No,
guess there's probably not a lot more than that, right?
No, I need to get a Robert Pattinson for Tenet. That would be really niche.
That'd be very great.
Very niche.
I support it.
Inception. Maybe there's Inception Funko Pops.
And he's got his top and he's just about to spin it.
That would be cool.
What if it spun? Okay, I'm done.
Could be cool. Maybe you should go work marketing at Funko.
I will.
Product development.
I'll be right back.
So some people are saying this could be like a vampire thriller. Some people are saying it's like another period piece, like another war age epic. Of course, people think it's going to be like some sort of mind bending sci-fi things. They gravitate towards these things that they've heard over time. Nobody really knows, but this cast is becoming very interesting. So I did want to pick your brain about it. Latest news today from Deadline was Lupita Nyong'o joining the cast, which if you've listened to any of this podcast, you know how we feel about Lupita. She's great. She's
fantastic.
So great. But this cast already included Tom Holland and Zendaya, Lovebirds.
Wow.
Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon. I don't know why I just said Lovebirds. It's like I'm in the 1930s.
Lovebird. The Lovebirds. Hey.
And Matt Damon. So that's the cast as it stands right now. So Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon, both Christopher Nolan vets.
Yep.
They've both been in Nolan movies before. Zendaya, don't think so. Surprised they wouldn't cast like a Zoe. Oh wait, Zoe Kravitz was in The Batman with Matt Reeves. That wasn't Chris Nolan. Anyway, what do you think about this cast?
I think it's fantastic.
It's pretty good.
I don't know how you put those characters together, like, or those actors together as characters, like how they fit as puzzle pieces is confusing to me.
Yeah.
I also heard that this might be like a super spy thriller.
Yeah, espionage.
Espionage.
Yeah, that's right.
And for that effect, I'm like, is this his audition for Bond? Because he's always said it would be a great honor if they asked me to do a Bond movie.
Tom Holland?
No, for
Christopher Nolan.
I think it's his audition to direct a Bond film, potentially. Even though he doesn't need an audition.
I was going to say, I think that's below him.
Right. I think he could reinvent it. You know, I think.
I
think it would be as good and as innovative and exciting as Skyfall if he did it. Better, right? But I'm down for the espionage. I don't want a vampire movie.
You don't want one at all.
I don't want one.
A Chris Nolan vampire movie, I have to admit, that has me
no.
a little. Doesn't have you a little excited?
Not at all.
That's whack, dude. I feel like you are in a slim minority on that one because I'm here for that. Espionage. I love a spy movie. Spy movie is probably better.
Yeah,
I'd probably take spy movie. Tom Holland's the one that jumps out to me out of this cast list, and I think just because there's a fair amount of what would you call it, vitriol as it relates to Tom Holland online, which I think is so weird. Like, what has this guy done to anybody other than be in Spider-Man, which I know people dislike? There's a small but loud contingent of people that don't like the John Watts Spider-Man movies. And I think if you watch those movies close enough, you can kind of see what they're talking about. They're not saucy, those movies, in a cinema sense.
But he is saucy.
They're not saucy, but the story is really good and the character's good and they're fun. So I think people kind of loop him into that, and that's why they don't like Tom Holland. He's gonna dunk on everybody in this movie.
Yeah, the fact that people don't realize how amazing he is,
dude.
This is not a Robert Pattinson coming back from Twilight situation, guys. This is Tom Holland has been the GOAT actor since he was 9 years old.
So good
in all these different films. Like, he is absolutely incredible. Anyone who doubts his technique, his commitment is wrong. You're wrong. So one day I hope that you can see that. Maybe go back through all of his filmography. Not all of his movies are great that he's in, but who is? But if you watch his commitment, it's as committed as Nick Cage is in all of the movies that he was doing for his debt payback, right?
Wow.
Just not to that degree, because Tom Holland is not yet in great debt. I think he's going to be fantastic.
I think he is too. I've already started collecting the Twitter receipts. I'm taking screenshots anytime somebody trashes Tom Holland, or like trashes this casting, which there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, when this thing drops, it's over, and I'm stomping on all your graves, all of them. every single one, because I'm telling you, I'm not hipster about many things. I'm rarely on the front edge of anything, but I was on the front edge of the Tom Holland thing. I saw The Impossible with Naomi Watts, Ewan McGregor, and Tom Holland on HBO. I watched it on my parents' couch when I was home from college for the summer, and I was like, who is this kid? He's going to be the biggest thing ever.
Yep.
He's incredible. And then when you get cast as Spider-Man, everybody's like, who the heck is this? And I was like, I know who that is. And so yeah, he's my one trophy that I won. I correctly identified that talent. Go me. And I'm riding it till the end of the road, to the end of the line, baby.
I'm gonna get you a shirt.
Tom Holland, stan forever. Also, did you see him fighting off the paparazzi that were swarming around Zendaya? Did you see that?
Yeah, gentleman. Just a classic
He's a gentleman and a scholar. He's a beast.
Yes.
So I frankly will not tolerate Tom Holland slander. I will advocate for him till my dying breath.
No, we're gonna Jimmy Kimmel mean tweet everyone out there with these Twitter receipts, and we're gonna blast you.
We
we're gonna
should
say your handle and everything. We're gonna know. We're gonna say your location, your address, your place of work, your family makeup. We're gonna go deep.
And if you think you're gonna go delete your tweets, it's too late. I've already found them, and I've got them stored
in multiple servers.
It's over. You're done. That's if your days are numbered. Let's just say that. Okay. Other thing I want to talk about, Denzel Washington, out of the absolute blue today on the Today Show, in an interview that he was doing for Gladiator, he's doing press tour for Gladiator 2, said that he's got a set of movies lined up, and or actually I should say movies and projects lined up.
Yeah.
After which he plans to just kind of shut her down. So let's go through this. I'm pulling up sorry, I didn't have all my tabs oriented correctly.
That's okay. No one cares.
So hold on. Here we go. These are the projects that he has planned to do. And he casually drops breaking news. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Like, these aren't the biggest things in the world, like, because he's in them. He's doing Othello on Broadway with Jake Gyllenhaal. I'd love to see that. We know Denzel loves Shakespeare.
I love Othello.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
And Jake Gyllenhaal and Denzel, both great actors. That's got to be a banger. Then he's doing Hannibal movie,
Mm-hmm.
On Netflix, directed by Antoine Fuqua, who, of course, he's partnered with many, many times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to maybe do a new movie with Steve McQueen. We don't know anything about that.
Maybe not. Mm-hmm.
He said casually, oh, by the way, I'm going to be in Black Panther 3. Ryan Coogler's writing me a part for that. Like, legit, you got to watch it. He just rolls it off. He's like, oh, yeah, Ryan Coogler's writing me a part for Black Panther 3. Like, ho-hum. Then he's going to do Othello, a film. And then he's going to do King Lear. And I don't know if he's going to do King Lear movie or Broadway show.
Unclear. Yeah. I love that he's like, he's decided over the past 2 decades to workshop things on the stage.
Yeah.
Like Fences. He did the same thing for Fences.
He did a whole bunch of Tennessee Williams plays and who wrote Fences?
August Wilson
plays. Yeah.
He did a number of different things, but then like when he was like, you know what, that's the one. I'm gonna be in that and I'm gonna put that on stage, and if I like it, I'm gonna go and put it on film.
Yeah.
So he knows it. He's mapped it all out. It's incredible.
It's really cool. And I love that he's finishing with King Lear. There's something very poetic there.
Absolutely.
Because that's very like thematically in line with him. And I think I'll have to go back and check, but as soon as I read that, I was like, didn't he say that at one point? Didn't he say, I almost feel like I remember him doing an interview with somebody, like, I don't know if it was Jamie Foxx or somebody, where he said like, King Lear is going to be the last thing I do.
I'm going to round up my
I think it might have been at the time when he did Macbeth with
Cohen's.
Cohen.
Singular.
So yeah, kudos to Denzel Washington. He's welcome to retire whenever. It'll be a sad day when he does. He's one of the best to ever do it.
Nope. I'd like to Futurama his head and just make him continue to perform forever. I think that's fine, right? Put his head in a bubble and
it's very dystopian.
Yeah, put him on a robot and you program the robot to know his mannerisms. Very easy to do. Lots of content, and then you just go.
Yeah, I think what's great about Denzel Washington, there's been a lot of talk about his legacy, I think, just as he continues to do amazing things. And we even posted on social at one point, like, do you think Denzel's on the Mount Rushmore of actors? And most people commented like, yes, I think he is. And I wonder with him kind of where that will end and where most people fall on that. And how he views on that, because he's really a remarkable guy, and a lot of people dog on him for always being having the same accent, but I actually think it's better. I think it shows how good of an actor he is that he always has the same accent. Like, that I never think about it, because he
No.
just injects such an authenticity. People are like, "How's he going to talk like that in Gladiator 2?" I'm like, "Well, he's just going to do it, and it's going to be great, and we're all going to shut up and we're going to listen."
Yeah, there's a difference between character acting and leading man acting. Like, you can convey a very specific, very strong, very different character, all while not modulating your voice, just
Yeah.
by with your physicality, even if minute, even if using all your same bags of tricks and smile like Denzel does, which is all perfect, versus the character actor who's going to go, which is also great, who's going to dive into a completely different look. They're going to gain weight, lose weight, Christian Bale style. But Christian Bale's the fine line between character and leading man, because he dabbles in both, right?
Yeah.
But Denzel is a true last remaining leading man.
Well, and I think, like, especially in Ridley Scott movies, like, Ridley Scott doesn't give a crap about accents. He never has.
No,
And I think that's a perfectly fair take to have. Like, you're the artist, you get to do it. It's I mean, you see like stage shows all the time where there's all types of accents and things like that. I think as long as
absolutely.
you're conveying your point, like, even if it's a period piece, it doesn't really matter that much. And he's always so freaking committed and so talented that it doesn't matter.
And especially in film, like if you're watching it on the stage, I feel like it's more noticeable because everything's a little bit more exaggerated on the stage.
Definitely.
So if one person is talking like Denzel and the rest are all like Southern Belles, let's assume he's a character in Steel Magnolias, right? Then it's very
Yeah.
then it's alarming, right? But
Right.
if you put him in a film, like and some people are using accents and he's not, no big deal. Like to the point of Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix, Ridley Scott, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, no accent. Did it bother me? Absolutely not, because he played the character, right?
Yeah.
So that was fine. So I think accents are optional. My dialect specific wife would argue, but I'm fine with it.
I guess what I would say is, like, even if you argue it, it's hard to argue that the other side is invalid,
Right.
which I see a lot of people try to say, like, that's invalid. Like, if it's period, it should be period. Period.
Mhm.
You know?
Period.
But
Period.
I think that there is a valid case to be made, and I think that Denzel is exhibit A in that case.
Side note, I just thought of Tom Hanks because of course Denzel and Tom Hanks starred in a movie called Philadelphia. Tom
There it is.
Hanks is on the hit list from my wife on accents. She hates when he is in
Jeez.
a movie and he doesn't do the right accent. When it's a clear point, they say where he's from and his whole family history, and he doesn't do the accent that it matches. She calls him out every single movie.
She's been saying some inflammatory things about Tom Hanks lately, and I'm kind of like, yo, chill. Like, fair. He's had some stinkers, and I think he needs to take a break from Robert Zemeckis in the
Yeah.
worst way. They need
Yes.
to take a break from each other in the worst way. And yeah, he's on a bit of a downward spiral at this point, but he's still Tom Hanks.
He's still
You
Tom
got to
Hanks.
watch it. You got to watch it. All right. Other thing I want to talk about. Speaking of one of these industry legends, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. The Final Reckoning is now the title of the 8th Mission Impossible film.
And tonight he's in the studio with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, can you imagine? We got the trailer for this movie. So they've now taken the part 1 off of Dead Reckoning, which I can't remember if they did that when it was in theaters or if they just did it after the fact.
When it hit streaming, they took part 1 off of it.
It's a good call. They probably should have done it earlier. That movie didn't do well in the box office, and it's always baffled me. I was talking to you about that when this trailer dropped. Like, I for the life of me can't figure out why a franchise that's been spitting out consistently awesome action movies that aren't just like dude movies, in my opinion. Like, I've seen many of them with my mom, who loves good action movies. My wife would watch these movies. She likes Jason Bourne and things like that. These aren't like dude movies. So what I'm trying to understand is how that 7th movie did so bad in the box office. It boggles my mind. I don't get it.
I don't know. Was it released the same year as Avatar 2, right? Maybe.
It would have been totally different times
of year. So like what else was at the box office
Like,
at that time?
nothing. I don't think there was anything. I do think it was not super well marketed, and maybe it was the part 1. Is that the kiss of death? Is that the death knell?
Yeah, if you're a musical or if you're a part 1 or a part 2 of one of something,
You're
do you
done
die?
for. You're done for.
People don't
Maybe
wanna do
that's
the
why
homework.
Spider-Verse dropped the part 1 too. They must have had some data. They were like, part 1 is a no-go.
Yeah, they dropped it
They probably
fast.
focus grouped it. I bet they did. I bet they focus grouped it, and people were like, does that mean that I have to see part 2? Does that mean that I'm missing something? It's like, people are so annoying.
They're
People are so
they have
lazy.
such commitment issues.
Dude,
Oh my
don't even get me
goodness.
started. Um, but let's talk about this trailer. It slaps. It's
Yeah.
a certified banger. It's a certified Ethan Hunt banger all the way around. It's got everything you can want. Amazing quotes. When I was posting the trailer online, I didn't even know which quote to put. I didn't even know. They were all so good. I was like listening to the trailer over and over again. I'm like, man, that's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. I was like, dude, they were just like killing it here.
You're gonna clip those and play them in your sleep
No,
in your
listen,
ears.
listen to the one that I settled on because this is sick. Yeah, I should do that. When the need for certainty is absolute and the odds are deemed impossible, the mission falls to him. I mean, are
Mm,
you kidding me with that? That is a bar and a half. And this trailer is cinematic beauty. The colors, it looks like real film. It looks like a
mhm.
real film. And they've got callbacks to Mission Impossible 1 in the trailer. I'm just like, dude, this thing slaps. It's so good.
When I was a kid, I saw the first one way too young, and like with most of the movies that I've seen that are staples in American cinema history, and I had a pair of sunglasses at the time that I thought mimicked Ethan Hunt's.
Yeah.
They didn't. They were gray, not black. But I thought they were super cool, and I would pretend to be Ethan Hunt on a mission that was impossible.
Yeah.
It's impactful seeing this, like, talk about nostalgia, right? With Mission Impossible in a weird different way. It does it for me, and I'm all for it. It's invigorating, it's exciting, it makes you feel like the hero of the story
It does.
when we're clearly not. We're sitting in a movie theater eating popcorn and soda.
It's great though. To me, Mission Impossible, I don't think it's an understatement to say or an overstatement to say that it really is like it's the peak cinematic experience. The stunts they do he does his own stunts
Yeah.
and they get bigger every movie. And so it really I don't know, in a weird way, like you have to break the suspension of disbelief to think to yourself like he's actually doing that, but it also makes it more immersive
And
because it's weird.
and this seems like the final one. I think the only way they could do a Mission Impossible 9 or even 10, I think the only way they could do it is if Tom Cruise literally kills dies on screen with his stunt. Like we Ethan Hunt dies when I die,
Yeah.
and this is how I die. That'd be the only way. That'd be
Well,
the
did
only
you
way.
see it would be. Did you see the rumor that was I think it was actually Jeff Snyder of the Insnider who started circulating it that Tom Cruise wants Glenn Powell to pick up the reins and be Ethan Hunt,
No.
which was debunked by Glenn Powell. He made a funny joke. He was like, "My mom would never let me do that because of all the stunts and stuff like that." But Jeff Snyder's been wrong about so much stuff recently. It's not even funny. It's not even worth like. It's not super worth talking about. But there, you couldn't do it. To me,
No.
it's. I think it is the most Tom Cruise thing that there is, and it lives and dies with him. And I love that series. I love it so hard.
It's incredible. I mean, just take out the second one, and you're have a perfect franchise.
It's true. The second one, and some people love the second one. I saw a tweet today, and I'll have to find it and post it on social at some point. That said, the cool thing about Mission Impossible, I'm paraphrasing, is that you could throw out any ranked order of of those movies and post it, and everybody who likes Mission Impossible would be like, "Hey, that's not my list, but that's a cool list. Good job." Like like everybody would be like, you could make a case for almost any of them.
Unless you have two in any spot but dead
Dude,
last.
I see people putting two dangerously high. It's kind of like Alien, where I was like seeing some Alien versus
Oh.
Predator ranked high whenever those ranked lists came out. I feel like a lot of people showed their true colors those days.
Wrong. You're
When
wrong.
when the final I challenge you this next year, May 2025, when this movie rolls out, just peruse Twitter and take a look at all the ranking lists and Letterboxd. Peruse Letterboxd, and you'll be shocked at how many number twos you see in the top three.
We're gonna put them on blast too. We're gonna show their handles.
Let's just clip them.
We're gonna ruin their families.
No, they're invincible. They're invincible. There's nothing you can do to them.
No, people, their employers are gonna see that they put number 2
They're gonna
anywhere
fire
but
them.
Dead West.
We're gonna dox them. Like, this guy works at Liberty Mutual Insurance. Dude, everybody retweet this or he gets fired. He thinks Mission Impossible 2 is the best one. Man, that's evil. I hate when people do that, but maybe it's worth it.
We're doing it.
Maybe it has to be done. All right, that's all I got for movie and TV news. I had to pick your brain on that stuff. It's been a wild week. There's lots of stuff happening. We're getting into the very nice woman at the screening tonight said we're getting into 4-year consideration season. So we're seeing lots of movies. We saw A Real Pain tonight. That review will be releasing later this week on Friday. This should drop on Wednesday of this week, the 13th. And we've got tons of good stuff coming up on the website. Stefano just wrote a review of Anora, which I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but it is buzzy. Major Oscar buzz going on with that one. And Stefano's review had me chomping at the bit to see this thing. It sounds really interesting. We just saw A Real Pain. We're seeing Wicked this weekend. We're seeing The Brutalist next week. We're possibly seeing Gladiator next week. There's a lot of stuff coming. So stay glued here on, if you're listening on the podcast, we love you. Continue to listen there. Subscribe. Also subscribe on the YouTube channel. Anybody watching on YouTube right now, thank you so much. It's truly a huge help. Stay glued to all these places. And you can always go to popcorn4breakfast.com to get the latest and greatest. It's that time of year. It's getting real busy around the movie biz, and we are going to keep you posted on all of it. We want to give a special thanks to our producer, Ryan, and of course, our title sponsor, St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Talk to you then.